Shalom. My name is Yeshua Yaakov Ben Avraham. This video is made from Jerusalem. It's January the 27th. It's a briefing for the people of the land of Israel. Apologies, lo medaber ivrit. My Hebrew is like a baby. A little to litpalel, but not much more. Okay, that said, apologies for making it in English. Here we go. Basically, the people of Israel have need to know that there is a global phenomenon occurring, and in physics it's called the collapse of the local reality. In religious parlance, it's called the end of exile and the beginning of redemption. In physics and secular science, it's called the collapse of the local reality. And after the local reality collapses, you have the quantum reality. Quantum reality is the equivalent of redemption. It began in Israel, despite all denials, on November the 5th, 1995, with the tragic murder of Yitzhak Rabin, of blessed memory. Who am I? I'm an American. I made Aliyah in 1987. I'm a didactic scientist. That's a fancy word for self-educated, self-trained. After being a college dropout and working for 40 years doing basic research, following the problems, I observed the phenomenon beginning in 1991 with the invasion of Iraq, and the collapse of the local reality there was the despot Saddam Hussein for his 39 Scuds the year earlier, fired at Israel. Subsequently, in the same year, 1991, on December 25th, which happens to be the Christian holiday of Christmas, there was the collapse in the Soviet Union of communism. 4 years later, as I said, on November 5th, 1995, there was Rabin's murder, and that brought the collapse of the local reality to Israel. And what is the local reality in Israel? It is Zionism, and it collapsed, and we're in denial. Now, the briefing that this video wants to come centrally to focus upon, that all of our blessed souls in Eretz Israel have need to know. The denial of the collapse of the local reality is blocking yours, mine, our children, families, communities, and Eretz Israel and Klal Yisrael's ability to inhabit the quantum reality, which is redemption. And that blocking has to end by Israel ending the denial. And how do we end the denial in Israel? We undertake deconstruction of ground zero of the collapsed local reality, which was Israel's Zionism. And after we deconstruct ground zero, we deprogram our minds of exile based on belief. But we're not the only ones that have to do this. The collapse of the local reality visited America on September 11th, 2001, which is traditionally known as 9/11. And let me summarize and say the watershed event of history that confirms the end of man's exile from himself and from God was 9/11. And God spoke on that day to the Rove. And what's the Rove? The Rove is the largest Jewish community. The largest Jewish community in the world happens to be New York. And that is what happened on that day. And what does it mean? Well, we have the official narrative: 2 planes were hijacked and the terrorists flew it in. 2,700 people tragically died. The buildings collapsed, etc. That's the official narrative. The meta-narrative is the meaning of the collapse of the Twin Towers is the collapse of the Klippa of man in exile. His impersonator duality, his Yetzirah, Yetzirah, which he could do nothing about to end exile. HaKadosh Baruch Hu intervene in man and mankind's history and collapse it, and that's the symbolic grammar of 9/11. That's the meta-narrative. And so the collapse of the local reality is going to continue, and it's going to spread around the world, as is redemption of man and mankind. And that's the good news. And we have to help one another and help Israel to understand, to end the denial of the collapse of the local reality, and accept upon ourselves the responsibility to move forward with the deconstruction, the deprogramming, in order to effect comprehensive restoration. And in the secular parlance, what we are getting as a reaction to the collapse of the local reality is anger, denial, negotiation, acceptance. And that's the analog, that's the grammar and analog of exile, where the analog, or the logarithm of, or the sequence of, let's not use fancy words from science, let's use clear words, simple words. The sequence of cognitive perception that attends redemption is awakening, atonement, restoration, and healing. This is proof, concrete proof, that we're ending the denial when we do these things. That's the message. Please don't be too disappointed, and we should have only simchas and blessings for the months and years ahead and the decades of our lives in redemption, and we should enjoy the enormity of the blessings of the tremendous compassion with which HaKadosh Baruch Hu intervened in history and brought the collapse of the local reality. And that's the message. And we thank you and we wish you blessings from Jerusalem. Again, my name is Yeshua Yaakov. There will be a blog, a website, lots of further videos. I apologize, they'll be in English, and eventually, of course, they'll get translated into Hebrew. Thank you. Shalom from Jerusalem.